Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we've got War 4 of Season 52 and we're up against PBT. I've got Void, Chee'ilth and Spider-Punk today. Void is newly rank 3, so I'm looking forward to taking him for a spin. Starting off on path 9 here with a power efficiency hazard shift Kushala. I was a little bit worried about this fight because I did think that if I parried her, which gives her the blessing that lets her regen, and then I hit into her block, it would ramp up the tactic, and later on I was right. So I was definitely glad that I started off this fight by not parrying. I was specifically baiting heavy so that I didn't have to deal with that. Apart from that, I'm just going to be hitting her in the incinerate phase, making sure that I only hit into poison occasionally, and especially then not more than once, because then I don't want her to gain a fury from the node and then apply more poison and, tick me down. Void's pretty tanky though, so I'm not too fussed. Here I do hit once into poison because I have my heal block up and I have one charge until she gets the power gain, so I wanted to apply the power gain at a time that was good for me, while I had the control that meant that I would be able to deal with it safely. Even if I'd got one poison on me, I wasn't too fussed. But Kushala's going down very safely. She's near the end now. I've just got to survive this last little bit of the fight. I've got my Fear of the Void up, so even if she does gain some power, I will be controlling that, and I'm just fine hitting into poison there to close out the fight. Throw an L1 and she goes down. Next up is Magneto on the next node. So this one is power focus 1. There is also insult to injury, so that if I have any debuffs on myself, parrying may fail. So I've got to bear that in mind. The feat of indestructible will slow down tempo a little bit, but it won't really stop you from being able to take the fight. I'm not using power backs and I'm not going to L2, so no worries there. So I'm going to be hitting in during incinerate and then either hitting into block or parrying or reparrying during the poison phase. Your normal stuff with Void against a hazard shift node. Again, because there's even less of a threat here from the poison because there's no fury, so I'm fine hitting into him a couple times. As soon as I see myself get a poison, I will just stop hitting him. There again, you saw me trigger the power gain at an opportune moment. I had a petrify and the heal block was about to apply, so I just wanted to apply it while I was in control of the fight and making sure that he's not going to gain too much power. The tempo of the fight is going absolutely fine. I'm okay being back in my corner. I'm fine reparrying. Magneto has a one-hit heavy, so it's very easy to dex. You're going to see us close out the fight pretty much just exclusively in the corner anyway. But the power gain triggers again, we've got it well under control. This is one thing that really surprised me about Void. I didn't think he would be that good for the tactic going into it. I thought, well, the tactic's got rid of his heal block, his heal reversal, and that's a big source of his damage. The heal block does what he does already, but using the heal block in conjunction with the Fear of the Void and the Petrify is just really, really helps. So I'm really happy with Void. He's a cool rank 3 and I use him a lot more. Going into this next fight, this is a Sadist Ebb and Flow on 5B, Jessica Jones, and I'm using Chee'ilth. The reason that I'm starting off with these lights is that I'm looking to step back into an intercept like that, and I didn't want to apply any debuffs beforehand because I don't want Sadist to go crazy while I'm trying to get an intercept. I want that to be as low risk as possible, and with no debuffs, it's pretty low risk. Chee'ilth is great for Sadist as well because I can block without fear of the attack increase. Chee'ilth reduces the opponent's attack to zero. She reduces the gains that they get from attack into block to 0. So, if they had 100 furies, they'd be hitting the same strength as if they had none into her block. So obviously you don't want to get hit. You want to be careful of that, but she's very good for nodes like that. And we get a couple of intercepts, close out the fight, and she does absolutely fine there. Moving on to 5B Destroyer. I have taken this before. This is not my cleanest attempt. I mess up the timings of a couple things, and overall it just doesn't go as well as usual. but I will be using Spider-Punk. He has a lot of tools to make this fight very safe, and yeah, we will see how he handles it. So straight away, Destroyer kind of just walks up to me instead of letting me intercept him, so I have to dash back a little bit further, just throwing my tempo off a little bit at the start, so that's always fun. But we got the intercept, and we go for a couple intercepts, and then a parry heavy to apply a taunt, which then applies the heal block. All good so far. So now I'm just going to be wanting to bait out his special ones the whole match. That will apply more debuffs, it means we get more heal block on him, and it means we just kind of control the fight a little bit better. So I throw my L2 off here, and I'm going to try and bait a special one from him so that the ruptures tick during it, and that's all good as well. Now I'm just going to go for a heavy, and the protection comes back at the worst moment, so I get a double resist. Luckily he doesn't punish me for it, but that was a bit frustrating. Now both of his power gains have triggered and my heal block's about to fall off. I go for heavy to try and apply one more. I go for a special one bait so that it tries to apply a rupture, and luckily that slows it down. He's got to L2 though, so I go for a special 2 dex. That's fine. Summer of Suffering helped us all there. I'm still in control of the fight, but I'm getting backed up into my corner a little bit, and he doesn't do the intercept thing again. He kind of just walks up, so that's a bit frustrating. Here I'm panicking a little bit, and I go for my L2. I dash at him to try and stop him dashing at me, but he just dashes back, and Mighty Charge shrugs off the debuffs once more. And I fail a re-parry there, which makes me a hit of my Indestructible. Flustered, I go for a heavy. Luckily, the evade lets me get out of that when I missed the heavy counter, but yeah, I'm just kind of wanting to get out this fight. I'm still mostly in control, like health bar wise, but it just felt like the fight was about to spiral away from me, so I'm glad we got the SP2 off to close it out. Next up, we have Void versus this Photon on personal space regen. Now, the tactic attack does kind of stop how good Void is here, because I'm not going to be able to reverse regen as often. While the heal block's on, obviously they aren't regenerating anything, so there's nothing to reverse. So that's a little bit frustrating. He's not as good as he usually would be here, and this is the first time I've ever taken this fight, so a little bit nervous. Luckily, I've taken Photon with such a range of champions in BGs that I know how to control her pure light, and that's kind of what I'm going to be focusing on here. So generally when you're fighting Photon with a generic champion, one that doesn't counter her, you're looking to bait out 2 special 1s or 1 special 2. Around then, they'll usually be on around 10 charges, and then you can knock them down. So here, Photon's on 7, I know that she throws that, it gives me 1, I know that my medium will give me 1, and then I know that stepping back into my special will give her the 3rd one, which gives her 10 and knocks her down perfectly. She's got almost no power, so we can just kind of waste time during this pure light, and we're all good. So I bait out that heavy, go back in for another, and we reset. I'm going to push her to another couple of bars of power, and we're going to deal with pure light safely again. So we're going back in here, and I'm going to bait out one more special 1 from her. I accidentally parry, bait out that special 1, and now I need to do a little combo, hopefully get some of those energy vulnerabilities on myself, which pushes her above 10, and I go for my special 1 once more. Now that was a purposeful parry, and I'm just baiting heavies in the corner here, and I can just combo into Relic, wasting the last bit of her pure light, and we can go again. So one thing that I see a lot of people doing is when she's in pure light, they kind of just stay still and don't do anything even towards the end of it. Whereas you saw there, I let her go about 4 or 5 pure light charges, and I started comboing her into Relic. That is a really nice way to waste time because she can't do anything while you're actually comboing her. Just a little thing that I've noticed. And then towards the end of this fight here, I know that I don't really want to deal with any more pure light, so I just parry a couple times in the corner, let her tick down, and then we go for a full combo, and I had the special 1 there as well. So yeah, really nice fight. I will take that again in the future. Moving on to this Shock Bleed Conflictor Void versus Wiccan, that is. So I've got an Odin. I'm not immune to either of the Hazard Shift, but I do have the Odin for the Shock. And then obviously Void is Incinerate immune, so I will deal with that aspect of Wiccan's kit. The trickiest thing here is to deal with the Conflictor. So I'm going to be PS1ing, and I don't want a Wags here. even if Void could get Wags, I want to purposely trigger Conflictor and then get my debuffs up. So I'm going to be trying to trigger Conflictor with my parry as often as possible. Unfortunately, we get some bad procs, and I don't get a Petrify up till a little bit later, but we are going to be applying enough debuffs to get the power, to get the heal block up, which will control power and control the healing as well. So we've got heal block up, and I'm just going to be kind of punishing his special, going back, reparrying whenever I can, just to make sure our Fear of the Void debuffs can get through. And yeah, I'm going to be punishing his specials. That will keep the tactic charges under control. Again, like last war, this is another fight where Wiccan doesn't even get the power gain because I'm punishing so many of his specials. And I'm honestly just ignoring the bleed. It does do a little bit of damage, but you know, I've got the shock debuffs on me that I'm healing from, I've got the neutralize debuff that I'm healing from, and overall Void just handles it so well, and that's another one that I'm going to take again. Moving on, so we had a member die to this Mangog, and he didn't feel confident going back in, so I decided to try Void for it. We didn't have any more Reed pre-fights, so this was a little risky. We were ahead enough in the war where I felt good taking it, but still, I was nervous. I was deathless at this time, and I didn't want to lose it. So I'm gonna invuln, and what my plan is to bait out a special one from him, and then punish it so that I can pause the tactic charge gain, and then I'm just gonna hope that I get some petrifies up. So I'm not going to 5-hit combo him, I'm just going to do either 3 hits or 4 hits at the start there. I don't want to give him unnecessary rage. When you finish a combo, it gives him rage. So I'm baiting out the special one, he doesn't seem to want to throw it. He finally does, I get 1 Petrify up, which is good. I punish this to pause the charge gain, and I go for my L1, and the Void Gods are smiling at me, and I get a 2nd Petrify. So we punish this again. I shouldn't have finished that combo, it gave him a chance to go into rage, but that's fine. I bait heavy, I don't want him to throw his L2, and I see here that I'm about to trigger the power gain, and I don't have my heal block up, so I just hold block. I don't want to miss and let him throw his L2. I hold block, let him shoot up to 3 bars of power. I've got my invuln, everything's under control. So we bait out this special 3, let it hit us, and invuln takes it away. Now he's on 10, I hold on to my special 2 here, and then I fail the deck, so 2 hits on my invul have gone. I step back into the L2 to take his unstoppable away. And now I just want to do my 5-hit combo into L1 to apply another debuff, bait out another L3 from him. What I should have done there was actually slow combo, because he's still in his hatred mode, and that means I'm going to be stunned after this, and I've got no more hits on my invul. So if I'd slowed combo, it would have fallen off, and it would have been fine. We eat a couple hits from him, but here I'm actually in control of the fight now. I've got Fear of the Void up. He's far away from another rage. I throw my L2 and I bait out this L1 from him if he wants to throw it. And yeah, he's just ticking down. So he throws this L1, I go back in, I punish it. The tactic's under control, his power's under control. I bait it heavy and I go into a 5-hit into Relic, and the fight goes down. So I will take this fight again next time with Reeds, but I'm glad that I've done it in the hardest possible way first so that I'm a bit more experienced there. Moving on, we have Spider-Punk versus Werewolf by Night on Conflictor Prowess. This is a tough fight, made a little bit easier by the fact this guy wasn't running Mystic Dispersion, so that was pretty nice. If he had been, I would have just ended up pushing him to L2s instead. As you're going to see, I just kind of bait out L1s from him. If not, you can just bait L2s. As we covered last war, Spider-Punk is a really good option for Wolf. He's rupture immune, so that takes away that aspect. It makes Wolf much less punishing. You just have to watch out for the unstoppable and the unblockable, which is something we deal with a little bit later. In retrospect, I think it's actually better to push to L2s anyway, because it takes up less space on the map. You see I get cornered quite a lot in this fight, and although his special one isn't difficult to dex, I do go for a heavy counter here and he resists it, so that's a little bit frustrating. But it does almost no damage, and I don't get punished because there's no ruptures. So we go for another L1 bait. I'm not going to heavy counter this one. I'm just going to keep him cycling those L1s. He's going down nicely, but he howls above 2 bars there, so I don't punish him because that would have made him go unstoppable and I would have got punished there. He's now in curse, so again, after he throws this L1, I don't punish because I know he's going to go unstoppable. And I try and sidestep him here, and I fail the timing, so I get hit, but then I just bait out the heavy, throw my L1, which removes the ruptures and, you know, just applies the damage that it would have done, and that closes out the fight. So I'm not sure if I'd want to take that again with Mystic Dispersion, but it didn't go too badly. And final fight today, big war, but final fight is this Wong boss. So I'm going to be starting off like I normally would, reparrying to build up some charges. That works on the stun immune nodes, and bait out a heavy to get rid of his unstoppable, which means that I can get a safe opening by baiting another heavy. So I'm happy baiting out Void's L1s when he's not in his blue spell. You're going to see me again really push so that Wong never throws a blue spell special one. I don't want to get cornered. I don't want to get his unstoppable. Let's just avoid that. So I'm fine pushing him to L2s. I'm fine using my relic whenever I need to. If I get caught in a spot where he's got 100 energy and I can't get an opening, I'm just going to bait a heavy from him. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to deal with the dangers in this fight. You've just got to be conscious of them and kind of play it through. So we go for a heavy counter there to remove his 100 energy and bait out another special one because he's not in the blue spell phase, but he is going to be in it in a second. So I do go for a relic and then an L2 because then I push him past that L1 into his L2, which means he won't activate the spell and we avoid another one of the unstoppable triggers. Now that he is in his blue spell, I just get an intercept and push him above a bar of power into the orange phase. He's on 100, so that worked out really well. Go for a stand-up intercept, straight into L1, and we survived another blue phase just fine. It's coming back around already, so it's quite a cyclical fight. We're just going to be trying to avoid it whenever possible. So we bait out this special one again, go back in, punish, and as you're seeing, like Void is just handling the tactic absolutely fine. We've got heal block up basically whenever we need it. That's one thing that I've actually really focused on. I've got the Ant-Man relic on, which applies 2 debuffs on the striker, as opposed to something which is objectively better for Void in general, which would be like the Spidey 99 relic, which applies a debuff that stays, but you know, I want to deal with the tactic just fine. Here I didn't really see a great opening, so I just kind of retreated back to my corner. I'm fine dealing with being in the corner, and then we just wall bank. I dex Wong's medium, throw a light, which gives me my opening, and that combo finishes him off. So very safe fight. I was on a lot of health right up until the end there, but yeah, no, it went well. Overall, I was a big fan of this war. It was my biggest one of the season thus far, and I'm really enjoying using Void and Punk. Really fun champions to be able to use. With that said, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.